We're back again. You're listening to So Much More, a women's health and wellbeing program. And in the studio with me, I have Shez and Kell from She Can, and we're talking about their experiences creating a mentoring program for regional women. What did you want to be when you were children?
Well, first of all, it was a teacher, which is interesting because then I went and did work experience at a school and went, no, not for me. And then I'm a hairdresser. So I fell in love with hairdressing and still to this day not sure if the calling was for actually to create or it was to just watch people transform in front of me. I feel like that was part of the reason I've fallen so in love with watching transformations. They were external back then. Now I feel like they're internal and just being able to communicate with people. I love belly to belly. I love one-on-one. Yeah.
And for me, originally I wanted to be, what was called back then a gym instructor and ended up then wanting to be a PE teacher and went to uni and hated the city. So threw it all in, came back and ended up becoming a beauty therapist, had my own business for 10.5 years, fell out of love with probably not so much the industry, but probably bricks and mortar business for me, and became a personal stylist, which again is all about that transformation. It's about empowering women. So it's very in line with what we do with She Can, just on a different scale. So yeah, to look back now, it was back then. The gym instructor was what I wanted to be, but I'm so glad to have found what really lights me up.
Yeah, that is awesome. What kind of cost, so emotionally, physically, socially, financially, has this entire process actually had on you?
The process of our personal development? Yeah.
Wow. Well, cost, there's been some really tough decisions. We certainly recognise, as we mentioned before, we talk about sort of wheel of life. And we were in Thailand at one of our programs that we were participants of. And Cal and I were kind of, as you do, and this is both one of our saboteurs, is high achiever, we were giving ourselves a bit of a hard time about how we'd backed off a lot on our health. And it wasn't necessarily we'd done nothing, but it wasn't as much as energy as what we'd given it in our previous weeks leading up. And as She Can kind of came along, our focus was this business. And that's where a lot of our time and energy was going. We even I recognized, I was even spending less time with my husband and my girls. And we kind of beat ourselves up a little bit about it. And it was our mentor, Kelvin, coming over and going, guys, you would not have been able to achieve what you've achieved if you didn't give this all chips in, all energy. What you need to realize is it needs to be just a temporary thing and that you need to acknowledge it, which you have, and make sure that you're taking the steps to give it more attention, health and family as you go. But cost certainly for me can be some tough love from people and even some tough hate at some point. There's some people that just, like we were talking before, don't align with your message. So there's been, shifts in people that you associate yourself with, but moving forward or even looking back, I can see now that all of that was completely worth it. It's just you've got to get through that stage before you can look back and smile on it rather than let it affect you personally.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Shez. We say to the women in our communities, the braver you are, the braver you need to become, because some people won't resonate with you and that's okay, and we just send them love and wish them well. I guess to put a cost on it, financially it's been a huge investment to travel internationally and to nearly every state in Australia. It comes at a cost. But when I look at what Gary Vee talks about is your ROI, your return on investment, you can't put a figure on it. To become the best version of yourself is the greatest gift you can give yourself, but also the greatest gift you can give your children, your partner, the people that you surround yourself with. Cost, you probably will change the people you surround yourself with as you grow. The network will probably change. But for return on investment, it's all the positives outweigh any of the minor negatives.
We wholeheartedly believe, since being on this journey, we're better mums, we're better wives, better friends. We feel really blessed to not only be surrounded by the people we are, but, we feel like we're a great friend for them too, and we can sit here and say that. So, yeah.
We were talking about people not aligning with your message. What sort of attitudes or adversity have you actually had to face in this entire process?
Well, when you make significant changes to the person you are in a very short space of time, people that you may not have a huge amount of contact with, they struggle to understand or even appreciate the amount of work you've done to better yourself. And I guess they can question, how does that happen? Is this you now? What happened to the old you? Exactly. Is this really your truth? So they can question you a lot. And that is understandable because I guess the amount of work we've done in such a short amount of time did see us have incredible changes really quickly. Yeah. And then, I guess when people are perhaps not 100% happy with where they're at, it's easier to look out than it is to look in. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things we say all the time is that people only know what they know. They're only doing the best that they can do with what they've got. So unless they have literally been living with you and watching the process, it's hard for some people to understand. And as we said, we're really, really okay with not everybody aligning with our message. If everybody did, then there would be no need for She Can.
Yeah, and it'd be boring, Will.
It would be so boring. So one of our gorgeous mentors, Kim, has sent us a message. When you start getting that people are questioning what you're doing, he's like, you guys, you're making an impact because everybody's seeing it. It's not just people that know, like, and trust you. You're challenging the status quo. You're talking to other people outside of your realm. So for us, as Kel said, braver you are, the braver you have to become. We kind of embrace it now. Mm-hmm. And we literally look at it as a filtering system. People that want to come on board and spend time with us, great. We will embrace you with open arms. People that don't, we will send you all of our love and be grateful when you find the person that you connect with.
What do you think about the word failure? Is it something to be feared?
Absolutely not.
No.
I think when you really look at what failure means, it's your own perspective of that. For me, failure, it's more of a reframe. Okay, that didn't quite work. So what do I need to now do? And what do I need to change in order to see whether or not I can improve that?
Yeah.
I guess whether or not you're hyperachiever like Shez and I, failure to us or perhaps not 100% succeeding may be someone else's greatest accomplishment. So it's really a perspective on, for me, it's like how you actually see that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's also maybe acknowledging that felt good. Oh, hang on, I got off track. So it's finding that spot where it may have taken a wrong turn. We talk about the cursed hows a lot. And when you set goals and you set goals with intention and you believe it before you see it, you may, for example, you may want to fly from Melbourne to Sydney. And it's like, great, I'm going to Sydney. This is going to be fabulous. And then all of the sudden, your plane lands, you get out and you're in Canberra. And you're like, well, hang on a second. That's not where I wanted to go. I'm in Canberra. What happens then is you get your next flight and guess what? You end up in Sydney. So it's not worrying about how you got there. Embrace and enjoy the whole journey. And that's not a failure that you ended up in Canberra because eventually you ended up in Sydney. So we talk about working back and finding out where it may have turned a different way, but knowing and just having solid belief that you will end up at your final destination.
Let's take another break and we'll come back after these messages from our fantastic sponsors.